I played a provisional 1800. This is round 4 of the DMV Adults-Only Tournament, and in this round, I'm playing black again. So I had white, white, black, black, and I'm entering this round with 1 out of 3. Time control is game in 95, plus 10 seconds per move. So kind of a long game, but short for me always. And yeah, in this game, I think. My opponent just blundered early on, and I was able to convert it pretty smoothly. So he played e4. Also, I don't know why the e4 has the book move. This is a no-engine recap until the very end, but for some reason, chess.com gives the game annotation just for one move, and that's for e4. Anyways, this is no engine recap until the very end. And then he played knight f3, so we're both just controlling the center here. He plays d4, I move my knight out. So this is all very normal stuff. I pin his knight to his queen, and so he has to defend his d4 pawn, and I play queen c7. I love playing this variation of the exchange Caro Kann because it's very difficult for white to make moves. Let me rephrase that. It's very easy for white to go wrong. He castles, I play e6, he plays rook e1, I play bishop d6, so we're both developing here. I'm actually threatening to take this h2 pawn, which is kind of funny because his knight is pinned. He plays h3, I move back, he defends his knight with his other knight so he can get out of the pin, and I play knight ge7, he plays queen c2, I play h6, so then I can castle next turn. He plays a3, and I do not castle, I play a6. So if I did castle, I was a little bit worried about knight h4. I didn't really have a good answer. Knight h4 with g4 coming up, I really wasn't sure. Like, for example, if I just play a6 and then g4, and I'm actually losing a pawn here, and that's just like not very nice. I don't like that, but maybe it's okay because his king is really weak. But I mean, surely it can't be okay. Don't call me Shirley. So I really wasn't happy here. Of course, I'm going to also lose this, or this e6 pawn is also very weak if this did happen. So I actually did not know if I castled. I wasn't really sure how to meet knight h4. Like I genuinely did not. And I even considered taking on f3 just because I didn't know what to do if knight h4. But I decided to play a6 because now if he plays knight h4, I did not commit my king to that side of the board. So now I gotta play g5. And I'm gonna kick his knight back, and then I can, continue with g4 maybe. Maybe I castle long first, castle long and play rook, and put my other rook on g8. Like, the world is my oyster, and my oyster is nice. So I thought about this, and of course he could play g4. I just thought he might do this, and then we would reach a position like this where we have the Oreo cookie sandwich, but the g file is open, and my king is not on the king side. So I thought this surely can't be that bad for me. I do have to worry about this h6 pawn being weak to his bishop, but I think overall I'm doing quite well here. So I'll be happy if we play g4. But now he plays bishop e2, and now I can breathe a sigh of relief because now after castles, if knight h4, I can just trade. And now his knight's on the edge of the board, so there's nothing for me to worry about. And there's an imbalance in the pawn structure here where I have the half-open c file, he has a half-open e file. He described after the game that this is a very dry position. Well, actually here, that's this fork would, there's a pin here on the c file for this pawn, so this d pawn is actually undefended. And that's actually what happened in the game. He didn't go knight h4, he actually went knight e5, and yeah, I just took the bishop, he took my knight, I took back with the knight, because after he takes with the rook, then it's just a fork. So he just blundered that. He was moving too fast, and he just thought this was a very dry position, so he was fine, but no. And it's funny that he says that this, he thought this was a dry position, because yeah, it's dry in the sense that, like, there's no tactics hanging left and right, but it is very positional still with this imbalance, and there's a lot of play left in the position because I have the half-open c file, he has a half-open e file, so definitely a lot of play in this position for sure. Anyways, he goes queen d3, I take his rook, I give a check, and then go to f4. A very nice, when you start doing moves like bishop h2 and bishop f4, you can kind of like give yourself a pat on the back for like, oh yes, I'm sophisticated. Because like, yes, I could go bishop f4 immediately, however, might as well force him to commit his king to h1 or f1. If he goes to h1, his king is further away from the center, and I'm going to force a trade. if he moves his king to f1, yeah, it's close to the center, but actually not in a good way, because after bishop f4, let's say he goes g3, which is what he did in the game, and I take, well, now it's pinned, and now I force a trade of queens. So it's actually useful to have a king towards the center with my queen on the board in a lot of cases. But he goes king h1, bring my bishop back, I trade, and now I'm up in exchange. I'm just going to try to convert. He actually thought for a while, because my first instinct was d4, but I still thought about it for about 8 minutes or 9 minutes, because I wanted to double check queen g4. If queen g4 is setting up bishop takes h6, and it looks a little bit annoying, and it pins the d pawn to my queen laterally. So it looked a little bit annoying, and I decided that if that happened, I would go check, and after king h2 or something like that, I would take, and if he takes, I could go queen e5, and if rook e1, trying to deflect my queen away from my pawn, I go queen f6, and if queen g5, I would be okay with queen g6, or even queen f5 as well. I could also give a check as well, and do this. So actually, that's more impressive and more important as well. Okay, so but after d4, he just goes king h2 preemptively, I should say, and then I take on c3, and I was expecting to take back on c3, and then I would go here, and then he would go here, threaten mate, and then I would. He said after the game that I could just go f6 and e5, and in hindsight, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's f6, e5, and don't even stress about it, bro. So, and I can even do that here. I don't know if I actually would have done that. In hindsight, it's very simple and makes a lot of sense. So I probably should do that if you did that. So instead, he just sacrificed his bishop because he's losing anyways. And yeah, I centralized my queen. So now queen g5. So now queen g5 check can always be met with queen g6. And I centralize my rook. He plays h4, and I don't like try to double up or anything like that, because now h5 would well, actually, I'm completely fine here. There are no checks. Actually, the rook on d5 covers queen g5 check. But I was going to say, with a pawn on h5, now I can't block any queen g5 check with queen g6, but it didn't matter. But I do go queen g6 anyway to gain some tempos, because I'm threatening queen trade. And now I go give a check, and he resigns because, I mean, not much to do. You're gonna lose f2 or lose g4. You can't keep them both. And yeah, no point. And yeah, so overall, I'm very happy with how I played. I mean, I played pretty straightforward chess, so you know, I can't complain. I cannot complain. And you know, so I end the tournament with 2 out of 4, a win against an 1820, but he's provisional, so I don't know if that goes away in my you know, goes against my favor. And then I have another win against 1700, and then I lost to a 1950 and a 2200. So overall, I guess I'm probably going, you know, staying the same, maybe going up slightly, going up 5 points max or something like that. But yeah, can't complain. I think I had some really interesting games. I wish I did better, but you know what? We can't win them all. So with that being said, I'm going to hit the game review, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.